Yeah, let's get perfect.
Scrap.
I will see. Perfect.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Today is Daf Ches.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Oh, okay. Baba Batra.
And say Sam to Eddie, say Shalom in case he leaves before we're done.
Safe travels.
Safe travels. So you're here today?
Happy trail.
Safe travels.
Yeah.
Nice.
Happy trail.
All right. We are three lines from the top.
Rogers.
No, that's Happy Trails.
Yeah, that's Roy Rogers.
All right.
Happy.
All right.
Again.
Once or twice.
All right.
Still got it.
Still do comedy.
And away we go.
Do comedy. What is it?
Rav Nachman, Rav Chizda, Rama, Harga, Arabana. So Rav Nachman, so Rav Chizda, he threw the tax upon the Rabbanan. So in other words, he also taxed them. Similarly, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, Avarta Adaraisa V'Aviv Aksuvi. You've actually violated Daraisa, the Viv Aksuvim. Adaraisa Ksiv Af Chaviv Amim Kol Kadosh B'Yadech. So even all the nations are close to you, are dear to you. Nevertheless, all your kedoshim will be in your hands. In the times where you are chaviv, the nations are beloved to you. Nevertheless, right? Those who are holy will be close to you. It says there, and they'll sit at your feet. These are the Chachamim who trudge their feet from city to city, Medina to Medina, and land to land. Lilmo Torah. It's a Torah Yisabid V'Secha Yisab Litain B'Divrayisab Shalmakim. In order to go ahead and learn, right, to give and take the learnings of the Torah, so they go around. So therefore, they will be close to Hashem. So you see over here that that you should not. They should be that even when the other people are close to Hashem, nevertheless, they don't need any sort of special protection from Hashem because they have their own protection. Now the Pasuk says, so it says over there that that even when they are mixed amongst the nations, then Hashem will gather them, and they'll be basically, I guess, they'll be pater from the kings and the sar and the officers. So Amar Lula, pas example, it's written in Lashon Aramis. See, Kulu. So it says over there, if all you study in Tanu Kulu, then now I'll gather you. However, and then take you to yourself, man, before a minority of you. Then only the Talmid Chachamim, those who learn and minority learn, then I will just basically exempt you from the taxes of the kings and the officers. And also by Ksuvim it says, Manida balu v'halach le'shali le'mirma aleim. It says there that you should not go ahead and have any sort of taxes or levies and the like upon them. Yehuda, so it says Manida zemanas hamelech. That's like a special king tax, right? And below they'll be parted from zakes of gagusa. That's like the head tax. And the halach arnona. That's like the income tax or the asset tax. Rav Papa Ramya Karya Chadasa Ayasmi. So Rav Papa, he instituted a well digging, a new well digging upon the assignment. So Amar Le Rav Shishabrei Dravidi Rav Papa I Vidilma. Let me go. Maybe don't pay the test. They'll dig and they won't find water. So Amar Le Mishko Shaklina Menai. We'll go ahead and take the money. If we find the water, then we use it. If not, then we'll go ahead and return the assignment their money. And I'm going to Hakol and however, when it comes to go ahead and collecting to go ahead and install doors protection, we take from assignment, we take from orphans of our Rabban, like Tzrichi the Terasa, but the Rabban do not need extra safeguarding, as you saw yesterday. And Hakol Karya Pasya, but everyone has to go ahead and pay for the water. Even the rabbis, because they also utilize that they need the water, right? They don't need protection, but they need the water. However, what I talk about for now, is money to go ahead and for them to collect money to pay people to go ahead and shovel. But to actually dig, then they are not the people who go out and dig. In other words, if it's giving money to for diggers, then yes. But if it's digging itself, then they don't have to go ahead and take a turn. Rebbe Pasach Eitzes B'tzaras. So Rebbe opened Eitzer storehouses. I guess they had extra food during years of famine. Amri Yikusu Bali Mikra, Bali Mishnah, Bali Gemara, Bali Halacha, Bali Haggadah. Let those who learn, right, Chumash, Mishnah, Gemara, Halacha, Agatas, Bali Me'aretz, Al Yichnasu. But however, non-learned people should not go ahead and take from this storehouse of food. So Dachak Rabbi Yonasan ben Amram, so Rabbi Yonasan ben Amram, Benichnas, and he went ahead and he entered and he came in basically in disguise, identifying himself as an Amaretz, right? They didn't recognize the great man. He came as Amaretz, who were not allowed to go ahead and take, and he wanted to go ahead and take. So Amalo Rabbi Parnasani, go ahead and feed me. Samalo Beni Karisa, hey, have you ever learned? Samalo laugh, no. Shanisa, have you learned anything? Any Gemara, Mishnah, anything? Amalei laugh, no. In came, if that's the case, why should I, give you from the food here? So okay, at least give me like you'd feed an animal. You're obligated from the Torah to feed an animal, so you feed me. So Basar Denafik. So after he left, Yasiv Rebbe was thinking about, oh my God, I wasted the food. It could have gone to the Chamin. I gave it to some Aretz, or it's a parent Aretz. The Rebbe comes, the Rebbe comes time. Rebbe was concerned. What was to me who gave good bread? And I can go ahead and feed the animals grass. We're not, so I should have given this Amaretz grass. Some of the fun of Rabbi Shimon bar Rebbe, so said Rabbi Shimon bar Rebbe. So I Shema Yonasan ben Amram Tamidecha. Who? Maybe it was Yonasan ben Amram, your student. She'ena reitzel le'anas mikvod Torah miyamav, right? Who doesn't want to benefit from his learning of Torah. So part of benefit is identifying yourself as someone who learned Torah in order to get access to food. So maybe that was, so he didn't want to use the Torah that way. So he says, I never learned anything. He didn't want to use the Torah. So both they checked the deed, they found that I'm a Rebbe, and everyone should go ahead and come and collect. Forget this rule, because anybody who comes and identifies as a Talmid Chacham is using the Torah. And Rebbe, they told me, why did Rebbe do this before? It says, Dama Rebbe ain't perennius bal yelam ela b'shvil amiyaretz. All the troubles of the world, they only come because of those that do not learn, because the Aberetz. Like the case of they had this certain crown tax that they put upon the people of Tveria. Also, the coming Rebbe came for a Rebbe. So Avram Relay, least for Rabbanim Ba'adam. So he said, should the Rabbanan be part of this tax for the crown? Some a little low. No, we're not going to go ahead and tax the Rabbanan. So they said, the townspeople said it weren't learning. They said, if that's the case, we're going to run away and leave you with the tax. Samalei, what can I do? I'm not charging the Talmid Chachamim the head tax, and therefore run away. Aruku. So Aruku, they left Palgan, half them left, and the Lavi Palga. And then the Romans heard about this, and the Romans decided, you know what? They have them left. We'll cut down your crown tax by half. So they were not hurt by the people fleeing. So Asuanu Palga come to Rebbe. So the other half, the remaining half came for Rebbe. Samarlei, these are let the rabbis go ahead and pay with us. Samarlo, we're not going to allow it. So he said, we're going to run away. So he says, Aruku, they ran away. Uncle Kulu, all of them ran away. Pash, except for Halu Kaivis, except a certain launderer. So Shadi Kaivis. So then the entire fee had to be paid by this launderer. And Arak, he ran away. Kaivis, Paka Kalila. And once that heard, the Romans heard, they said, you know what, forget the crown tax from Tveria. So, and because of that, right? It was only supposed to be the fee, the tax, and the Ami Aretz, but they all fled, and there's just the Rabbanan left, and therefore the tax was removed by Hashem. Fine. 2 dots. Well, it was ruled by the Romans, but Hashem is what Rabbi was saying is the Peranius only become because Ami Aretz. But because the Ami Aretz left, miraculously the Romans said, you know what, guys, forget about it. So that's what I meant by Hashem, right? So the Kami. So now we said in our Mishnah, how long do you got to be in the town to be considered to start paying the taxes. Either, I mean, our Mishnah says you basically
6 months in a day, less than 6 months.
So our Mishnah said we're in Chesed Aleph towards the end of the middle lines. Like about 2 dots. Right? If I find our Mishnah, so let me just find the Mishnah from yesterday.
Yeah, it was,
Mishnah says, "Kamiya be'ir v'yeh ka'an she'ir yud beis chodesh." Right, that's what our Mishnah says. I saw Aminu. So you want to see 6 days, 6 months and a day? Well, let's see. People, travelers, donkey travelers, camel ones who travel for longer. Then he has to breathe it for a while. Hey, beskila umamaynan palit. They are considered to be an individual because they are not part of Ir Nidachas. Person who commits only if the entire city commits adultery, commits idolatry, right? Commits then, so then they're punished. Then, if the entire city is, then you have to destroy the city. It's called the Ir Nidachas. But if an individual does it, here you got there's a Gemara right here if you want. I'll just pass it back. Eddie, pass it back to you. Then, so let's see. So if these drivers are there, so they're treated like an individual who does avodah zarah, and they are killed by stoning, and their money is destroyed. Their money is left; it's not destroyed. However, if these donkey drivers shleishim for 30 days, hang beside the but if they're there for 30 days, they're considered to be part of the city. If the city was Ir Nidachas, they get destroyed with him. So you see, this Mishnah seems to say you got to be there 30 days and you're considered to be an inhabitant. So no, it's different, right? One we're talking about a person who is a B'nai Masa, right? He's a Chicagoan, right? The other one is someone who lives in Chicago, right? A citizen, right? A citizen versus an inhabitant, right? One who goes in and says, I will not get any hana from the Anshe from the people, let's say the Anshe of Chicago. So called the whoever's there for 12 months, you're usher from Lihanas bin Menom. Pachas become less than that. Mutter. But the people that live in Chicago, not Chicagoans, but live in Chicago. So call Sham. As long as they're there for 30 days, then then you can't have enough of them. But if it's less than that, you could. So you see there's a difference between Anshe a Chicagoan, right? A person in Chicago versus a person who lives in Chicago. Two different things, right? You're here for Kol Torah Mitzvah, right? So you're living in Chicago, right? After a year, all of a sudden you're a Chicagoan, right? Become so.
Okay, so what, wait. So the status of someone who's here is shloshim yom.
To be considered living in Chicago, you got to be here 30 days.
30 days.
To be a Chicagoan, Anshe you got to be a year.
A year.
And that's the difference between the Mishnah and that case of them.
And that determines taxes?
Well, we'll see. I called me being a year based college. And all matters what you need 12 months. Well, what do you mean? Well, time then another price of Shleishim. If you're there for 30 days, then you got to go ahead and give to the tamchui, like the soup kitchen. That's like for giving money to the local poor, to helping people out. Shisha, be there for 6 months. You have to go ahead and help give the big day the clothes for poor. Tisha, if you're there for 9 months, the kfur, you got to go ahead and give the chever kadisha, right? Shnemasar, and it's for 12 months. Then the pasir to the walls of the city. So we see there's different amounts, there's different matters there. So there's 3 months, 6, 9, what's going on here? Mishnah says 12, so I'm going to that which our Mishnah was saying, talking about 12 months, is actually referring to the walls of the city, which is 12 months. That's why I said 12 months, and therefore it agrees with this brisa. 2 dots around 7 lines in the bottom. Everyone has to go ahead and pay for the walls of the city. I feel me for orphans. However, of Rabbanan low. Rabbanan what? Do not. Why? The Rabbanan because the Rabbanan do not need protection. And Amarav Papa Lashura, the Parsha Ariza Afilu Miyasme, and even from like part of the security details. So these cases, to fix the wall, to have somebody running around, one of those cars, going around, or a horse, or whatever going around. They provide weapons, even from the orphans. But the running low. Why? Because the load circles called the milsa. They have to pay. They have to pay you for security because they benefit from it.
Yeah.
So we'll soon see that from orphans, we're reluctant to collect from orphans. When it comes to security of the city, they also got to go ahead and give. And call milsa the east who are no. I feel miasme and everything that they benefit from. You take from the orphans. The Rabba Rama Tzedakah Ayasme the Bimerion. So Rabba actually taxed for the tzedakah the orphans of Bimerion, who's a very wealthy individual, and nevertheless, so his orphan, he died, and his kids were taxed. So we don't go ahead and collect tzedakah from Yisayim, even if it's for redeeming of captives. The reason why I did is because they used to have all the dignitaries go to the house because the father was very chashuv. So they'll feel left out. They still got a lot of money. So therefore, we'll go ahead and collect for them to make them feel better.
Yeah.
So Ifra Hurmuz, that was her name. She was Amei Shvur Malka. She was the mother of Shvur Malka, the Shaja, who was a king, right? So Shvur Malka was a king, like in Persia or whatever. Right,
king.
Persian king.
So he was a Persian king, but he was
very
nice to the Jews.
He was very involved with the and learnings with the probably during before.
I know the period of Rabban Shmuel, I think.
So that's it. But I say it's anarchy. The Dina that coming to Rav Yosef. She said before to Rav Yosef. So obviously, so the mother. So it must have been in time that when Rav Yosef was alive, right? Some of the mitzvah rabbah, take this money and go ahead and set aside to a mitzvah rabbah. So yesterday, Yosef come, my mitzvah rabbah. What's a mitzvah rabbah? What is this? We don't collect money from tzedakah even for pidyon shvulim. Sounds like what's the biggest thing to collect for? Pidyon shvulim. So Shema Minal learn from here indeed that when she said put it to a mitzvah rabbah, a great mitzvah, it must be referring to Pidyon shvulim mitzvah rabbah, right? Because that would be considered mitzvah rabbah. How do we know that? Which is Rabbanan says Pidyon shvulim mitzvah rabbah. Why is Pidyon shvulim mitzvah rabbah? So let's see the pasuk says. So it says over there, and they'll say shvur go, and then Hashem responds to them. Asher lamavas, those who are supposed to die, lamavas will die like naturally. Asher l'charav to the sword, l'charav will go to the sword. Asher l'rav, the famine will go to famine. Asher the shevi, those who are supposed to be taken captive will be taken captive. Anything that comes later in the pasuk, zeh kasher mechavero. It becomes increasingly bad. In other words, there's die naturally, killed by the sword, killed by famine, taken captive.
That's the worst.
That's the worst. Yeah. All right. So he says, so a sword is worse than a mavis. So you can either say it's a pasuk, or you can say it's biologically. It's a logic. You can say high coming over, high low coming over. Right? One becomes maneuverable. He gets poked or jabbed or cut up, stabbed multiple times with a sword, and the other one dies naturally. Or you want to say the pasuk says Yaakov and Hashem hamavsel chasidav. Right? Those his chasidav will die naturally. And Rav kashem mecherev, and a famine is worse than a sword. So high coming tzar, high low coming tzar. Right? One suffers right when he starves to death, and that one doesn't. It's pretty immediate. Or anybody Sema Kra, or the pasuk says Tuvumayu Chali Cherev Michali Rav. The pasuk says better is to be from the sword, from the corpse of the sword, than from that other family. And Shevi Kashmi Kulam, the Kulo is Nube. And being taken captive is worse because any of those could be a result from being taken captive. So Tan Rabban and Kupa Shel Tzedakah Nigves B'Shnaim is Chalakas B'Shleisha. So the Kupa Tzedakah is collected by two people, right? It's not one individual. But we want two people, but it's distributed b'shleisha with three, like a basin. So nigves b'shnayim. Now, as they decide where the money goes, you have three people. It's not just one person. So b'shleisha nigves. So he says, So anyways, with two we don't go ahead and appoint authority upon the tzibor less than two individuals. Is divided by three. So tamchui, when it comes to the soup kitchen, it's collectively. Because in other words, we don't want to go ahead and two people collect money for the soup kitchen, and all of a sudden need to find a third to go ahead and distribute it. Rather, three people go ahead and collect the food for the evening, and then go ahead and feed the food. And tamchui b'chol yom, right? So tamchui is every day, and kupa, but the money, right? So tamchui is, I guess, given out every day. Kupa, Shabbos, that goes, from Friday to Friday. Tamchui, then tamchui goes for any poor person in the world. You don't have to be an inhabitant. However, kupa, the ani year. Right, but the kupa is really designated specifically for those of these cities. And if they want, the people of the city who are running this, they can go ahead and charge, let's say, the money that's given for poor people for loans or for special circumstances. They're not using it for that. They can switch over that money into the soup kitchen account, the nightly food, or tamchui, kupa. So they can go ahead and use it for whatever they want. So he says there that they also the Bnei Ir, those the leaders of the town, they can also go ahead and establish, okay, these are going to be the new measurements, right? The standard measurements. They're allowed to go ahead and change the prices or the wages, and if they don't. People don't follow, then they can go ahead and even penalize financially those who don't listen. And Amar Mari Nice Insurance Tzibur, we don't go ahead, we don't go ahead and appoint an authority of Tzibur less than 2 people. We don't know from some. But Rav Nachman Pasuk says, Ve'emichu es hazav. It says Ve'hein, they took the zav, right? They went ahead and collected the gold. Ve'hein is them, plural. Minimum amount of plural is 2. So therefore, you need at least 2. Go ahead and take the Tzibur.
Wait, what's that referring to?
What was this pasuk here? I assume it was the hey michu as a zav. There's a pasuk here. What is it? Right. Where is it? 1 second. Yeah, short that's hey.
For the Mishka.
Yeah, I was in Mishka. Right. Yeah, that's I assume so.
Oh, yeah.
So Amar Pasuk says because in other words, you can't appoint someone to go ahead and collect and gather like an authority over them. But however, to a person who's believed, is even one person is believed, right? Let's say to go ahead and give or to do something. And Messiah, the Rebbe, the Chanina, Maisa Umina Rebbe, Shnei Ach, and Rebbe once appointed two brothers, right? 2 brothers basically have the equivalence of one person because since they can't testify one another, so therefore it's like one person saying it. So therefore, 2 brothers he appointed ala kupa. For the kupa, let's say they had to do certain things, go to the bank and deposit. So therefore, one person would be trusted to death. What's the authority they're using? Because they go ahead, they can even take a mashkon for tzedakah. A person makes a pledge, doesn't pay it, so they can even go ahead and seize his assets until he goes ahead and pays it. If I feel a bear of Shabbos, even a Shabbos. Like, what says Aini? Is this true? They can go ahead and take a pledge. It says over there, and then I will visit, with bad things upon all those who oppress. And who is that referring to the oppressor? He is a Bashmo Bar Masa, Mishmei Derav, not only regular oppressor, but even a Gabai Tzedakah who oppresses, who takes away. So the Gemara says, like Kasha, what is the case of where he assesses the guy's wealth? The guy is extremely wealthy. He can go ahead and pay his pledge of $1,000. The other guy is very poor. Excuse me. He can't go ahead and pay the pledge.
Nice.
All right. He had the Rava. No, I'm good. So like the Rava says, Ahmed of Nassim Bar Ami. Ever since I went to New York, I had this call. They said, the Rava Ahmed of Nassim Bar Ami, Vishakal Mine Arba Amea Zuzal and Tzedakah. That which Rava he collected from Rav Nassim Bar Ami. He basically took money from him because Rav Nassim was very wealthy and could afford it, and therefore he forced him to pay his pledge. And those who are smart, who are wise, will shine like the heavens, right? The radiance of the heavens. So Zedai, what is that referring to? Who's the maskilin, the wise ones? Zedai Shadon Dinem Slamisa. That's a judge who does a true judgment. Tzadikei Rabin, and those that tzadikim of the public will be like the shine like the stars forever. Elu Gabbai Tzedakah. These are referring to the Gabbai Tzedakah. This time the price we taught Hamaskimi Zara Kazara Kia, right? Like the radiance of the heavens. That's referring to both Zedai and Shadan Dinamisa, and also the Gabbai Tzedakah. And then the second part of Masdike. Those are teachers, those are the ones who teach the children, those shine forever, like the stars. Keep going, man, like who? So I'm a Rav, keep going. So he found him in the garden outside. He says, Amalei, why you left your job? I thought you were a third grade Rebbe. Why are you out here in the garden? So Amalei, so Shmuel Bar Shila says, I haven't been here for 13 years. I've been in the classroom. I came outside one day, and right now they're still even on my mind. Even when I walk away from them, they're still on my mind. So therefore, you see what type of teacher he was. Rabbanan Mai, the Rabbanan, some Ravina says says Hashem is big vuroso, right? And those who love him, the tzaddikim, those will shine forth like the might of the sun. So when they go ahead and collect, they shouldn't go ahead and separate from one another. They should be together in sight. But they can split on the road, they just can't go their own routes. Matzah Mos, because they found money in the shuk. They should have put it in their pocket. Now, right, they're walking there collecting money, and all of a sudden he finds a $2 bill on the ground. $2 bill, right? He finds $2 on the ground. So he's allowed to keep it, right? It's hefker. Right, so but he should have put it in his pocket right away. Why? Because people think, oh, nice thing with Arnikishal tzedakah. Rather put it in a purse of tzedakah, set it aside. And when he comes home, then we're going to take it. In other words, he find money. No. He's allowed to keep it, but it has bad. Doesn't look good, right? Because people think, oh, he's putting money in his pocket. He's probably collecting money and putting and pocketing it, right? He's not putting in the pushka. He's putting his pocket, right? A guy walks around collecting money during Chazar Shas, and he takes it, and you give it to him. Instead of putting the pushka, he puts it in his pocket. That's what people are going to think. Because if he finds it on the floor, they won't see the phone on the floor. I thought someone gave it to him, he put it in his pocket. Yeah. So he's saying, and similarly, it says that there's another guy. A guy was collecting money, and all of a sudden, someone owed him $100. And all of a sudden, and the guy sees in the shuk, oh, here's your $100, hands him $100. And the guy takes the $100 and puts it in his pocket. What's it going to look like? If you're just watching, you don't hear what's going on. You say, oh, he just handed him $100, he's collecting for tzedakah, and he put it in his pocket. What's going on here? He should go put it in his wallet. He should go ahead and put it aside in the container of tzedakah. Then when he gets home, then he go ahead and take the money that was rightfully his. And Tanra Badan around several to the bottom, Gabbai Tzedakah Manim, the Chalik Porta. Let's say the Gabbai Tzedakah, they collect the money for poor people and copper coins. They don't have what distributed for a long time, and they're going to go bad. So then Porta Lachem, you should go ahead and do change with somebody else. He can't do it by himself.
Yeah, there's some area no one will.
It doesn't.
Anyway,
Only the Orthodox community.
so he said nobody to go ahead and report to the Yatzman. So he shouldn't do it by his own because people might say, oh, he gave himself a very good rate. Right. The Yatzman. So Gabbai Tamchui, let's just finish up. So Gabbai Tamchui, Shein Lamanim. So let's say Gabbai Tamchui for the food. Food's going to go bad. Shein Lamanim, the Chalek. Go ahead and sell to others. You can't sell to yourself because people assume you gave yourself a good deal. You shouldn't go ahead and also take two at a time when he's counting. Why? So take one at a time. Why is that? Because people will say, oh, he took two. And the reason why he took two is maybe he's counting one, and therefore he puts it in and keeps one for himself. So therefore, in order that the counting people don't question him, do it that way.
To count tzedakah, because then Hashem can't then increase it.
Or maybe they're separating it or whatever, yeah, or maybe they're. I'm gonna buy maybe they're just counting money to go ahead and to give to somebody. And it could be opposite, you're counting the money to give to somebody. So I'm counting, I'm supposed to give you 100, so if I, do this and I do 2 at a time, maybe I'll count it as 1, and therefore the accounting system won't be off, I'll be able to afford. So the Beit Kanishta in the beginning, so he wouldn't go ahead and sit on the pads that were donated from the collections from the tzedakah in the shul, right? The kupa bought it. However, came in the Shemal the Tanya, that which he learned. But however, since he heard that which he learned in the Brisa, so when you give it, then you can go ahead and use it for everything you want. So let's say the money was collected for the city, for shkav chasafan to give for food, and it wasn't used for food, so you go ahead and buy it for for chairs for a shul. They can do it with kol mashir yirtzeh. So therefore, he says, "Haviyasi." You say, and I'm going to buy March. He used to go ahead and make 2 pushkas, chalani the alma, chalani the masa, one for the poor people around the world, and none for who come visit, and the other for local poor. However, came in the Shemalah, however, once he heard that which was taught, he says, Avid Chad Kis, he should only make 1 kis, right? 1 pushka, Vyasnele, make a condition. Therefore, also you go ahead, put it all thing, and you can be discretionary as to give to the poor of the locals or the poor of out of town. And Ravashi Amar, I don't even have to go ahead and make a stipulation to call that whenever money comes to me, when they give me money to give out, they give me money basically with a condition saying, Rebbe, do what you please with it. You want to do it for Svarim, you want to do it for poor people, out of town poor people, whatever you want, you do it, I trust you. Therefore, whoever wants to go ahead and give money, therefore you give to him, and you don't need a separation. It was given out tonight. Then you can give it to whoever he likes. We'll stop here. Everybody, have a wonderful day.